Yeah, it's rewind time.
Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here, once again with another video on The Flash. So quickly, Happy New Year from Australia, most likely from when this video does come out, and welcome to another edition of the Flashback Reviews, where we do look back at some of the most beloved, and more importantly, in regards to, I guess, how we select them and put them in the video, highest rated episodes of The Flash from the past. Now in this video, we're going over one of the more special episodes that The Flash has ever done, and it wasn't a finale or an episode where a major character left the show or died or anything like that, but a milestone episode, that being the 100th episode of The Flash. This aired as episode 8 of season 5 and was otherwise entitled What's Past is Prologue. Now as we usually do, I can say that the next episode we'll be doing or going over in the next video, so you can rewatch the episode in advance if you want to, of course. And this isn't just a single episode, but an entire crossover, so a bit of a bigger one, that being Elseworlds. So yeah, feel free to watch that in your free time if you want to do that. But something quickly I have to say is that I actually won't be doing this series for much longer, because the final season of Flash starts to air in just over a month from now. So I'm not too sure what will be the amount of remaining episodes in this series, as well as what episodes we'll cover in the videos in those, well, videos. I guess that'll be up to the top rated list to decide, but I think there might be another crossover or two in there, and just obviously some really good episodes. So keep your eyes out for that. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know your opinions on this episode and everything like that, any memories of it, favorite moments, all that stuff. Always curious to read in the comments. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, want to show your support and everything like that, why not drop a like on the video too? Do all that. So in the lead up to this episode, we actually did have Team Flash finding out the true identity of Cicada after having a few misdirects here and there in regards to who was this person killing certain metahumans around Central City. This person being revealed as Cicada being Orlin Dwyer, which was a change up from the comics themselves, so just a misdirect even for people that were familiar with the character from the comics. Now, after this, we actually see the backstory leading up to him becoming Cicada, where Orlin is seen adopting his niece Grace after her parents' death in a metahuman attack, and while out at a fair, some debris from DeVoe's satellite that was destroyed by Nora and Barrett at the end of season 4 puts Grace into a coma and also impales Orlin with a piece of the shrapnel that would go on to become his dagger that he'd use to kill other metahumans, and I guess also try and kill the Flash with. Now, after all of this, Orlin blames metahumans for what has happened, and he vows to exterminate all of them on Grace's behalf, or Gracie's. But in regards to the 100th episode itself, as we do head into it, Barry and Nora are planning to time travel to gather items in order to stop Cicada. These being 1, a highly magnetic alloy from Savitar's armor from season 3, Harry Wells' Speed Force transmitter from season 2, which he of course tried to, well, I guess he did take Barry's speed from him and give to Zoom, and dark matter from season 1 from the particle accelerator, might I say. Now, they first do travel to Team Flash's final battle with Savitar, and this is actually where we have a time wraith appear and is going after Barry and Nora because, hello, they're time traveling and trying to mess with the past. But Barry is able to distract the time wraith, so Nora is able to retrieve a piece of Savitar's armor. However, during this, Nora actually does see that Iris is the one that kills Savitar, so this freaks her out for a bit. After this, they then travel to season 2's time period, where to the point when Zoom stole Barry's speed with the Speed Force transmitter, which Barry ends up getting from Harry in order to help with what they're doing in the future. However, Zoom, though he ran away, does come back because he senses some other speedsters there, and Zoom does discover Barry and Nora and does chase them around before he's actually like rugby tackled out of the Speed Force by a time wraith, which actually ends up breaking the transmitter in the process as well, that whole passage that went on there. But of course, this had people questioning, is like, well, hold on, what happened to Zoom? Did he turn into Black Flash at that moment? What's going on there? Anyway, no questions were answered at that moment. Now, even though Barry is against it for quite understandable reasons, Nora is able to convince Barry to ask Eobard Thawne in the whole Wellsbard disguise for help back during the events of season 1. Now, despite some initial difficulty in going about things, and Thawne giving his usual intimidation process to Barry and Nora, and almost like threatening them, Barry is able to convince Thawne to fix the Speed Force transmitter by claiming that they'll never get home, or he'll never get home specifically, if he does not do it. Finally, Barry and Nora do travel to the night of the particle accelerator explosion in order to get some dark matter, and this is when we then go to the time vault where Gideon reroutes part of that dark matter through the shard from Savitar's suit, and also the transmitter, or the Speed Force transmitter, and Barry does reveal to Nora that Thawne killed his mother, and that's why that whole interaction back there was pretty awkward. And as we get back to the present day, Team Flash is able to put all this stuff together and separate Cicada from his dagger temporarily before he's able to retrieve it in a pretty comical manner and escape. But what are the pros and cons of this episode? Because it's a 100th episode, like the main goal heading into it is just to have some fun, have some memories and everything like that. And if there's some logical issues, okay, they're going to be there, but mostly even there's a bit of a celebration. And that's one of the pros there. It is a fun episode. It is purely fun. You get to go and do all these different things and just hang out with certain characters. And I think it mainly being focused on a very speedster-esque thing like time travel was the perfect way to do it. I think if they did it in any other way where like there was too many people like going around and doing stuff, it might have been an issue. I know there were complaints back then that maybe didn't focus too much on like the core characters of the show, like well, I guess Barry was there, but also like Iris, Caitlin, Cisco, and even Joe and stuff. Though they do play a role in the past scenes as well, but they're still on the show going forward, you know, and they still are in this episode as well. I think it was mainly complaints about Nora at the time, because also I think Nora was, I think at this point of the season, doing some annoying things. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think maybe the main complaints were Nora from memory. In retrospect, watching the episode again, I didn't really feel that. But then again, I wasn't watching, you know, the 3 episodes leading up to this episode as well to really get a grip on whether there was tension around Nora and like maybe she was annoying in those previous episodes. I can't remember. But going back to those moments in previous seasons, though we aren't there for too long, outside of that scene with Nora, Barry, and Thawne, the time vault, like that's a pretty extensive scene, but you aren't in those other periods for too long, which I guess is a bit of a disappointing thing. But you got to remember they're going to 3 different time periods, like 3 different seasons in the time periods around them, and they had to introduce that story, like that whole mission, as well as do the thing at the end with Cicada. There's not a lot of time. You probably have maybe 8 minutes to delve into all that different stuff, at least equally, and they focus more on some of that stuff like in the time vault with Nora, Barry, and Thawne. So yeah, in a perfect world, maybe you get like a 2-parter or something like that. But I think they did a pretty good job for one episode, at least not just going back to one time period, like just going back to season 2 or something. We got to go back to 3 different time periods, roughly. So I think they did a pretty good job in regards to that. And my last pro, I've already mentioned a couple of times, but that scene with Nora, Barry, and specifically Thawne in the time vault is great. It was great. Even like mentioning like Dawn Allen, like saying that like, because it was I guess from a different timeline, Nora was called Dawn and stuff like that. Really cool. But of course, when it's Tom Cavanagh specifically playing Welzabard, you know it's going to be a good scene. Like it's even silly to even question that it won't. In regards to the cons, I usually only have maybe one con from each of these flashback reviews, because you know, in this series, we're going over the top rated episodes. They're top rated because there's not much really bad, if anything bad at all in the episodes. But I have 2 things, and one's probably not really over major criticisms. You know what I mean? So the first one is that the whole time travel journey wasn't really needed. It wasn't necessary. This was something I remember saying back at the time when the episode aired, and many said the same stuff. But they easily could have got most of this stuff they needed in this episode to deal with Cicada in the present day. They didn't need time travel, but that wouldn't have led to a trip down memory lane and some cool returns and flashback moments and stuff like that. So though it wasn't the most logical thing, it did lead to the most fun options. So you can't really complain too much, can you? And the second one is something that people always bring up, and that's not sending Cicada's dagger to another Earth, but they sent it into space where he could easily retrieve it. Like it was a coolish scene with him, you know, almost doing like a lightsaber thing or like force grab or what do you want to call it. And I think it was just floating in space and rockets spat down, then he flies away and stuff like that. It looked cool for the most part. But yeah, some really smart people on Team Flash overlooked that one. Like especially when the coolest thing about Cisco's powers is that he can sort of breach to other Earths in the multiverse, and he just puts it up in space. Like why not put it on like a lava planet, which like we saw I think even before this episode aired as well. So yeah, the logic really wasn't there with that one. Now, the interesting thing about this one is that we did have a 150th episode for The Flash, but it wasn't like that big of a milestone episode, but we're not going to get a 200th episode for The Flash. The Flash currently is on, I think, 171 episodes aired. So then there's only 13 episodes in season 9. So The Flash is going to fall short by 16 episodes once season 9 does come to an end. So it would have been pretty cool if somehow it worked out where like the final episode or the second last episode of the show as a whole was the 200th episode. But yeah, we're not going to get any more milestone episodes outside, I guess, of the series finale. So yeah, this was a pretty special one. I can't actually specifically remember what they did in the 150th episode because I think that might have been the season 7 finale, I think, from memory. But yeah, no 200th episode, I guess. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like and show support. What are your memories of this episode? Looking back at it, did you like it? Did you have issues with it? Did you not like it? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.